A Nassau County real estate attorney who scammed dozens of victims out of nearly $6 million faces up to 9 years in prison, following his guilty plea in the fraud case, Nassau District Attorney and Donnelly said. Daniel Boldy, 49, also is expected to be required to pay $1 million in restitution fees, the district attorney said. On Thursday, Boldy admitted to his part in the real estate scheme, Donnelly said, pleading guilty to 13 counts of second-degree grand larceny and 1 count of first-degree scheme to defraud. Boldy is expected to be sentenced to 3 to 9 years behind bars when he appears before Nassau County Acting Supreme Court Justice Karen Fink on April 17. But should he fail to pay the restitution amount by his sentencing date, he could face an increased sentence of 4 to 12 years in prison, Donnelly said. Donnelly explained that Boldy, who owned and operated the Boldy Law Group, PC, embezzled $5.78 million between September 2020 and January 2024 from 46 victims. The duped included individual homeowners, real estate agents and other entities for whom he held money in escrow. Boldy posed as a trusted professional in real estate transactions and orchestrated elaborate schemes that defrauded nearly 4 dozen prospective homeowners, real estate brokers, and even a volunteer ambulance corps out of more than $5 million, Donnelly said. Boldy's guilty plea is a step towards financially restoring the lives of the victims he devastated through his schemes. In one instance, Boldy defrauded a couple selling their East Meadow home by falsely claiming he hadn't received wire transfer funds from the buyer's lender, the prosecutor said. Boldy provided fraudulent documentation of a wire transfer to the couple's mortgage company, resulting in the completion of the sale. But the funds were never sent, leaving the couple continuing to pay a mortgage on a home they no longer owned. In another scheme, the defendant also provided a private lender with a fraudulent mortgage and title closing records, embezzling $1.15 million through 2 separate loan thefts between September 8, 2020, and November 7, 2023. According to bank records, Boldy used the funds he stole on various personal expenses unrelated to the victims' transactions, including Venmo payments to other individuals and property investments. As an additional consequence of his guilty plea to felony charges, Boldy will lose his license to practice law, Donnelly said. In another case, we have a woman who swindled $1 million home away from a senior citizen in Queens, New York. A heartbroken family who had their Queens home stolen through a flashy real estate agent's deed fraud scheme fought through tears at sentencing Wednesday, and then were outraged at the convicted scammer's no-jail sentence. Gloria Kubik, 79, said priceless items, like her deceased dad's Welcome Home Johnny sign from when he returned from World War II service, went missing after Autumn Valet, 41, forged documents and conned Kubik and her daughter, Maria Bendek, into handing over their 61st Street Road home in Kew Gardens Hills, which they've owned since 1999. It's all just thrown in the garbage, Kubik recalled about items tossed from the home she grew up in, which was purchased by her parents in 1940. In regard to the mother and daughter's home in Kew Gardens Hills, Arveinger and Valerie forged documents, including a marriage certificate and a driver's license, so they could sell it to a third party in May 2023 for $600,000, according to prosecutors. They then wired about $442,000 to Ray's bank account after the sale, which has been the subject of an ongoing civil lawsuit, according to court docs. In total, the quartet stole homes worth more than $3 million, prosecutors have said. The victims in this case had homes that were ripped away from them, and these were homes that were more than just 4 walls and a roof, Queens Assistant District Attorney Rachel Stein said in court. Valet's sentence, which comes with no jail time, includes a signed order by Queens Supreme Court Justice Lee Cheng to void the fraudulent deed on the property. Authorities have said Arveinger and Valet also filed a fake document with the city finance department that claimed a 76-year-old woman who owned a house on 208th Street in Queens Village was transferring the deed to a company Ray owned. The conspirators also forged the signatures of the victim's dead sister, who once co-owned the house, and a notary, prosecutors have said. Lawrence Ray, Tori Geis, Carl Arveinger, and Autumn Valet are indicted for alleged deed fraud at Queens Criminal Court on Tuesday, March 18, 2025. The defendants also tried snagging a Jamaica Estates home, owned by an 82-year-old woman, through the same scheme, prosecutors have said. Valet, who apologized to the family in court, pleaded guilty to 3 counts of grand larceny in the second degree on October 8. Aveinger was already sentenced to 3.5 to 7 years in prison after pleading guilty to identity theft. He was scheduled to be sentenced Wednesday on grand larceny charges, but it was postponed until November 13. Third, we have a man who was the ringleader of a Queens deed theft crew has been sentenced to 3 to 9 years for stealing homes from elderly or disabled owners, State Attorney General Letitia James announced. Marcus Wiltshire, 48, and his crew pocketed more than $1 million in proceeds, using forged documents, from the fraudulent sales of 3 houses in Jamaica and St. Albans. Marcus Wiltshire and his associates targeted elderly and vulnerable New Yorkers with a predatory scheme that inflicted significant financial and emotional harm, James said in a statement Friday. New Yorkers work their entire lives to secure a home, and deed theft threatens to rob them of the generational wealth they have built for their families. Wiltshire, of Long Island, would identify homes in poor or run-down condition with absentee owners, James said. Then 53-year-old Stacey Saunders, a former mortgage broker, would market them to investors at a significantly discounted below-market price to make quick sales, James explained when announcing the arrests and indictments of 5 crew members in December 2022. Once there was interest from an investor, Wiltshire obtained personal information from the real owners to create fake driver's licenses, social security cards and bank cards. Disbarred attorney Enyakake Hercules, 49, created certain forged legal documents used in the theft of the homes. Wiltshire and Saunders found 4 people, including crew members Dean Lloyd, 63, and Jerry Curran, 67, to impersonate the real owners at contract signings and closings. The crew laundered the proceeds through out-of-state banks, James said. Wiltshire pleaded guilty to grand larceny in May and was sentenced Friday to 3 to 9 years in prison for his role in the deed theft ring and the theft of 2 additional properties in Queens. Hercules pleaded guilty to the scam and will receive up to 3 years in prison come September, the AG's office said. Curran and Lloyd pleaded guilty to felony counts of offering a false instrument for filing, while Saunders awaits trial. Let me know how you feel about this case in the comment section. Also, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more content like this.